My name is Michael Chukwulelwa, and I am a business optimization consultant. Together, let us be better so that we can do better. Greetings and welcome to yet another presentation. My name is Maimbula Michael Chukwulelwa of the clan Mulungo Munsanje. And this is the first of a three-part series that's going to be looking at personal productivity. In part one, we're going to be looking at how you can achieve your goals, but with specific emphasis on roadblocks. What are the things that are getting in the way of you achieving your goals from a psychological point of view? And this video series is actually inspired by a young gentleman whom I'm coaching and mentoring by the name of Matthews. And Matthews asked me a very profound question at the beginning of the year. He said to me, "Uncle Michael, what do I need to do in order to become the man that I dream of becoming one day? How can I go about achieving my own personal goals? How do I make my vision manifest?" And this is my answer to that question, because maybe you're like Matthews, you're probably also asking yourself the same questions. Each and every year, whether it's at the beginning or towards the end of the year, most of us are going to go through a process of trying to set our goals. We are going to say to ourselves that I am going to achieve A, B, C, D throughout the year. And yet at the end of that said year, what normally happens is you haven't actually done very much. Why is this the case? This is what I want to share with you today. So if you are the kind of person who is not where you want to be in life, don't go anywhere. If you are the kind of person who knows that you have so much potential within you, but it's just not being realized, then stay tuned. If you are the kind of person who does get things done, but you feel as though your personal productivity is not what it should be, then please stay tuned as I share with you the little bit of information that I have on this topic of achieving your goals. And I would like to start off by kicking off with a saying here by Kevin O'Leary, which I think is very pertinent to the situation at hand. There is nothing worse than talking about your vision all day long. Having a vision is easy. Execution is what matters. You all know that this is the truth. So why is it that we are unable to execute? The main message that I want to share with you today is as follows. A better plan will always yield better results. This is the foundation. And within this, there are three subtopics that I want to look at. The first one is as follows. You need to know your strengths and your weaknesses. Number two, complexity is the enemy of execution. And last but not least, you need to master your habits. So without further ado, let us jump into the very first of these topics, which basically says that your strengths should come from knowing your weaknesses. This is a saying that was given to me by a good friend of mine called Tobias many years ago when we were at university, which is quite some time ago if you can tell, judging by the gray hairs on my chinny chin chin. And basically what he was saying is that for many of us people, the reason that we don't succeed is because we don't want to acknowledge that we have weaknesses that are making us blind. They blindside us and they get in the way of us achieving our goals. And that if you are conscious of your weaknesses, you will never put yourself in a situation where you're going to give in to that weakness. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper into this topic. From a physical point of view, human beings, yourself and I, we know what our limitations are. This is why you have lights or candles that you use in the evening, because you know you have a physical limitation with your eyes, all right? It's the reason also why you have a kettle or a pot for boiling water for your tea or your coffee, because you are well aware of your physical limitations. This is also the reason why you will use some form of transport to get you from one town to the next, because you are aware of your physical limitations. So you and I, generally speaking, when it comes to our physical limitations, we know what we can and cannot do. And because we are open about it, we are able to find solutions to solve those challenges. However, when it comes to things of a cognitive nature, we human beings are the total opposite. Now all of a sudden we become superheroes. Nothing can get in my way. I can achieve anything. And we don't want to accept that we have certain bad habits or limitations or weaknesses that we have within us that keep getting in the way of our progress. So what I'm trying to essentially say is this. The reason why we don't achieve our goals, to put it another way, let's look at it from a different angle, would be because of this saying that we have right here. Now, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I can't even remember who actually uttered these words. If you know whom the person is, please let me know in the comments below. Know thyself, be thyself, love thyself. If you don't know yourself, you can never be yourself. If you can never be yourself, if you cannot be yourself, you will never love yourself. And the inverse is true. A person who does not love themselves is a person who cannot be themselves. And you cannot be yourself if you don't even know whom you really are. So your strengths need to come from knowing your weaknesses. And once you are cognizant, once you are aware of these, this is when you are going to be able to start creating realistic battle plans that take into account both your strengths and your weaknesses. Let's take a look at the second topic, which is that of complexity being the enemy of execution. There's an experiment that was carried out by Dan Ariely, and it was looking at the issue of organ donation. I highly recommend that you look at this experiment. And what Dr. Ariely found was that, for example, in a country like Germany, the organ donation rate was 12%, as opposed to a country like Austria, which is a neighboring country, that had an organ donation rate of 99%. Why was the difference so large? And the basic conclusion that this experiment came up with is the fact that when you and I are faced with complex decisions, we throw our hands up, we don't know what to do, we will let fate decide what is going to happen to us. And this affects your goal setting or your achieving of your goals from the point of view that if you do not set a goal that is realistic, if your goal is too big, if it's too complicated, you will not be able to achieve it because you will become overwhelmed by its complexity. So breaking down a big goal into smaller chunks is the key. It's the solution. And this is why in Africa we have the saying, how do you eat an elephant? Rather, the proverb that says, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Okay. So, oh yes, as an aside, this is also one of the reasons why people who are poor generally tend to stay poor, because they have so many problems. There's no money, there's no food, there's no jobs, there's no work, right? And they are overwhelmed by the weight and the number and the complexity of the situations around them, that they are unable to do anything to get themselves out of that place. Therefore, you have to start off by breaking down whatever challenge you have into smaller, bite-sized chunks. That's the solution. The third point that we're going to be looking at is that of your habits. You need to master your habits. Generally speaking, when it comes to setting goals, we have two types of goals that we typically set: outcome-based goals and performance-based goals. Excuse me. An outcome-based goal is a goal in which you will say, for example, I want to get my driver's license by the end of March, as opposed to a performance-based goal that would say, I want to get my driver's license. I am going to start adopting the kind of habits that are going to help me to become a good driver so that I'll be able to get my driver's license. Why is the distinction between outcome and performance-based goals important? It's important for the following reason. An outcome-based goal is all or nothing. Meaning that at the end of March, if you fail to get your driver's license, then that's it, you've totally failed. It doesn't take into account all of the preparation that you did leading up to the day when you went to go for that driver's exam. Whereas a performance-based goal is not as demoralizing because you will start off with the habits and you will continue practicing how to drive so that when you are confident and when you are ready, then and only then are you then going to book your examination to go and get your driver's license, and you will be more likely to succeed in that goal. So mastering your habits is very, 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 very important. Now, here's a saying that I came up with. Please pardon the broken English, but it says, you cannot become something that you are not already doing, right? You must start off adopting the habits of a person that you want to become one day. This is very, very, very crucial. So with that being said, we've now reached the end of this presentation. What is the main message that I want to leave you with here today? A better plan will always yield better results. You need to start planning more efficiently when you want to start achieving your goals. And we further broke this down into 3 subcategories. Number 1, the first thing that we said was, you need to know your strengths and your weaknesses. The second thing we looked at was how complexity is the enemy of execution. And then the third thing we said is that you need to master your habits. What do I want you to do with this information? From today onwards, I want you to start writing down your dreams, write down your goals, write down your ideas. And what this is going to do is, it's going to start planting seeds within your subconscious mind. And when I see you in the next 2 videos, we will dive a bit deeper into this whole topic of goal setting. But for now, please stick to what we have right here, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Signing out from me, Mayumbula Michael Chikulelwa of the clan Mulungo Monsanje. Cheers. If you would like to download a summary of this presentation, please go to my website at michaelchikwilelwa.com. Once you get to my website, go to my blog, and within the blog, search for the blog post with the same name as this video presentation. Within that blog post, you will find a free downloadable PDF summary of this presentation.